Hey everyone, I'm Brad. Welcome back. There's a quote that I wanted to share with you guys that I really wanted to focus on today's video. The person who works all day has no time to make money. That's by Rockefeller, John D. Rockefeller. And I love autobiographies or biographies. And I was reading his biography a few years ago, and I remember thinking, yeah, there's a lot of truth to that. A hell of a lot of truth. That if you want to make money while you're sleeping, you can do it with index funds and other things. But the way to really make a lot of money is by owning a business. If you're a physician who wants to be an entrepreneur and is drowning in charts, admin, extra time seeing patients, more patients added to your schedule, and feeling like you can never just get ahead, well, this video is for you. The first thing I'd like to call out is the myth of hard work. There's a difference between hard work and being productive. What's the difference? Well, we could work all day long. I worked very hard in residency, but was I very productive? No, a skilled surgeon or internist or whatever I was doing could produce way more than I could produce. That's the difference. Working for productivity rather than working hard. I mean, I'll look back to my very first job that I took out of residency where I was getting paid $32 per RVU. Only if the company got paid, then I got paid $32 per RVU. I went based off of MGMA. I was in the top 1% of hospitalists, but I was only in the 60th percentile for actual income. Because as a hospitalist, if people didn't pay their copays or bills, I didn't see that money coming in. I was working my butt off, and my productivity in terms of financial productivity, not going anywhere. There's also that time where you look around at maybe 10 p.m. when I started my shift at 6 a.m. being like, yeah, this is it, huh? This is as good as it's gonna get. I'm basically never gonna step up from here unless I get on these committees with the hospital, which need to get done but are often unpaid. So why would I want to join these committees when it's maybe not benefiting me and all because I'm not able to get paid for that and do less clinical work? And it doesn't help grow my business, my brand, my anything, unless I will say some exceptions. If you want to go climb the academia ladder, well, this video is probably not for you because there's totally different ways to go about things. Climbing a business ladder and climbing academia ladder with publishing, totally different. This doesn't apply to you guys that just want to go and be the best academia physician possible. That's great if you want to do that. Not the focus of what I want to do and not the focus of probably what you want to do if you found me. If your income stops when you stop working, that's not wealth. That's a dependence on whatever you were doing to show up to work to trade your time for money. Now, some of you may say, well, Brad, are you explicitly taking advantage of other providers, physicians, PAs, and NPs by hiring them? No, you can start your business too. I've encouraged hundreds of you guys that have consulted with me to go out and down the road of starting your own business. Good for you. Do it. It's a free world. It costs $300 in the state of Texas to start up your own LLC, file the forms, and get the ball rolling. Get an EMR. That's it. That's the barrier to get things going plus a medical license. But I'm going a different way, all right? Whenever I see these guys online, I love it that they're focusing on better income for physicians. Locums, hands down, a better way to make money for your average physician. For most people, you can get tax write-offs that are with it, but you're still trading time for money. If you don't show up to that shift and fly out to North Dakota and take on those 2 weeks of shifts at a time, you're not making money. That's not wealth. That's still dependence. And look, there is the financial gain of the business. Like I've said in previous videos, I feel like when I put $1 in, sometimes I get $50 back with running my business. That's amazing. It doesn't make those people that just want to do locums wrong. There are phases in your life when that may make a lot of sense. And I'm not looking down on you guys if you're a locums physician. Hell, I did it to grow my business right now. Like my therapist's wife likes to say, both things can be correct. It can be amazing for that person to do locums for a period of time in their career. It can be amazing if someone wants the stress of starting up a business, which I love. So why are doctors stuck? I mean, I think it's this weird dichotomy of, as physicians, we're taught something like extreme ownership. Everything that you order, everything you do, that patient is yours. Extreme ownership to make sure that that case or that patient goes as well as it possibly can. Sometimes stuff happens. Sometimes people get sick, and there's nothing you can do to change that. But I think everything that I was told in residency, not profitable in primary care, yeah, whatever, making a good amount of money now. That you can't do solo private practice anymore. Yeah, that's not true at all. I don't necessarily think it's an end game to be a small micro practice anymore, taking fee for service, that you need to do something else, such as charge premiums, go DPC or concierge. That's a video for a whole different day. But we're not taught entrepreneurship. And one thing that I do have a lot of admiration for a parallel industry is that if you go out there and you see dentists or you see even chiropractors, not going to talk anything about the practice of medicine chiropractors, but I'm going to say the business of medicine. There's a lot of chiropractors and there's a lot of dentists out there that are killing it. And no, not every single one of them is unscrupulous or selling, scams to their people. I don't want to get into that argument about chiropractors. Let's leave that alone. But I will say there's a lot of dentists out there that are just killing it. They're doing their own thing and they're loving it. Now, yes, there's a little bit of a different system where they can and will take fee for service plus cash pay. They're a little bit more divorced from the insurance fee for service well. However, you got to adapt or die. I mean, I just was talking to my pediatrician a few months ago about how they switched over to where now they've got this add-on service. You want extra stuff. You don't want to pay for forms. You don't want all this other stuff. Now it's $200 a year. All right. You got to pay $200 a year to be a member of that. The orthopedic doctor in my town that I actually consulted with, he does probably the most hips and knees replacements in town. He has a concierge plan that costs $5,000 on top of it. And I asked him, I said, hey man, how busy is your concierge plan? And he said, literally every week, multiple people, concierge, his plan is booked out. Now, what does that include? That includes a lot of things. They get his personal cell phone number. They get a personal nurse right after this that will go to their house and check on him. There's a lot of things. That $5,000 is not pure profit, but most of it is. They go to the front of the line for getting their knee replaced or hip replaced. He can do that because he's built his personal brand and he has grown so large. But what I'm trying to make as a parallel here is that in residency, I wasn't taught any of that. I was taught you can't do it in primary care. You can't open your own practice. It's going to be something that is impossible. And I will tell you that one of the large groups in town, when I said, no, I'm not going to join up with you guys, I'm going to go and do my own thing. I'll never forget that meeting with the head of the big group in town. He basically told me, Brad, this will be career suicide if you decide to open your own practice in town. Good luck crawling back to us with your tail between your legs. It's career suicide. You're going to hear a lot of naysayers because you know what? Your dream is not their dream. Their dream is something totally separate. And it may be working for the man in the big group for 50 years, collect your pension, move on, whatever. Collect your 4 weeks of vacation every year. Great. As an entrepreneur, you barely ever take a vacation. It's always on. That doesn't make them a bad doctor, bad individual. But what I am saying is that we're fed a lot of crap that it's not possible. And what I try to convey in my vlogs is that it's absolutely possible. And at this point in time, I've consulted with over 550 of you guys, which I appreciate everyone who has reached out to me for me to help them grow or scale their practice or start it up. I feel like it's coming back. And maybe obviously I'm skewed because I talk to a lot more people about starting, growing, scaling private practices. But man, it just feels like there's an energy here that things are going in the right direction. So I will say that I feel like we're trained to be employees and not business owners. And I envy that other careers like dentists are really taught more about the entrepreneur side of medicine. And I hope that you guys learn a lot of that from my vlogs. So why do most doctors stay stuck? Well, part of that is that extreme ownership. We're easy to delegate in a code, or if you're in a surgical suite, you can delegate, oh, go do this, go do that. I need this next. But when it comes to delegating from a business, physicians are terrible at it because a lot of times we think we're the only ones that can do it the best. Only me can provide amazing primary care to people. No one's going to write that Ozempic or Mounjaro better than me. Get over yourself, all right? There's a lot of people that can provide great care in your practice. And I think delegating those people to find the right talent, to get them in the right place, to say like, okay, this is going to be my amazing front desk, and then this is going to be my amazing biller on the back end. You got to build your team. And then you start delegating once you have that team, and then you can expand. You can get to 5 locations, 10 locations. You just start stamping them out once you got the policies down. And I feel like too many physicians that I consult with think that they have to do it all themselves from start to finish. Oh, my front desk sucks because we're only collecting 50%. No, it sucks because your protocols and standard operating procedures suck. You usually have none on paper, and front desk is where all the income, where it all starts from billing. If you have a terrible front desk, you can have terrible collections. So you need to take a hard look at yourself as a business owner and say, why do my collections suck? It's probably the front desk, and it's probably on you as the business owner for not going in and basically rectifying that to say, all right, I'm going to create a standard operating procedure. I'm tired of this. Now what's my action plan? I'm tired of this. What's wrong? What's my action plan? You need to delegate to those action plans to someone else. As the boss, you find those problems and delegate them to someone else. And that's where a lot of physicians have a hard time. They think they can do it only themselves the best. Look, people can write Mounjaro for diabetes just as good as you in primary care. So what actually builds wealth? Well, you're going to have to lay your foundation, all right? Like, it's not going to be flip the switch and here comes millions of dollars. You're going to have to work your butt off. You're going to have to get your brand. You're going to have to get your website. You're going to have to set up the systems. If it was easy, everyone would be freaking doing it. That's the hard part, is you got to build the foundation. It took me 5 years to build that foundation before I started stamping out more clinics. Once you get the team, the foundation, the standard operating procedures, you got the people, you got the systems, and you're going to have capital because you're going to save the money behind the scenes. Now you start expanding and people are starting to make you a lot of money because you've done the hard work setting this up. You know, I love to watch Shark Tank, and part of the offers on Shark Tank is basically like some of the real shark offers will be like, why do I even need you? Can't I just buy this and like replicate it myself? And here's the hard part is in medicine, no, it's very, very hard to do that because finding someone who's willing to put it in, build the brand, build that reputation. You know, what did Warren Buffett say? Like, we can afford to lose a lot of money. We cannot afford to lose a shred of reputation. Building that takes time. It takes time to build the trust and those systems. But once you have that, you have your license, you have that reputation, you have that foundation, and you start scaling it, that's worth a lot of money. That's why one physician offices is just trying to retire. Those are worth nothing. Honestly, sometimes they're worth less than nothing because people aren't going to want to take on the risk of being the custodian on record for those records. A lot of times someone wants to retire, they're going to get no offers. If it's just one solo physician, you're going to get nothing. Also, as you go from foundation to growing to scaling, your role is going to change much like mine have changed. I used to work 5+ days a week. When I say plus, I was probably working 60 hours a week on clinical care in the very beginning to like get the money going and get everything perfected. I was working through lunch every single day. But then once I got busy enough, got my team, I started hiring another doc, another NP or PA. Now we have 3 or 4 of them. Now we've got more docs, more locations, and I can scale back. Now I'm 2.5 days a week seeing patients. In the next year or two, because I love the business of medicine, I don't even know if I'm going to clinically see patients anymore. We'll see. I mean, I do love practicing medicine, but man, running a business is a lot of fun, even though it comes with a lot of stress and headaches. Time spent on automation and building your team, that's where the real money's at. That's where the legacy comes into it of building your brand and net worth long term, where you can make money going on vacation. Like when I went to Disneyland, I didn't see a cent worse income, no lower income than my normal income when I went to Disneyland. Because now there's 8 people working for me that are seeing patients while I'm gone. And they just basically spread out all my patients that I would have seen to those 8 people while I was gone. Done. No drop in income. When you're in the thick of it, it's hard to see the very end point. So when I consult with you guys, what's a common question that I ask you? Where do you want to take this thing? What is your end goal with that? It's okay if you don't want to be like what I'm doing, where you want to stress yourself out and open all these locations. You can make a great living having 1, 2 locations and just really running it very, very efficiently. And then you don't have all the stress. It'll probably take you 6 years to build that. And then you won't have all the freaking stress that I bring on myself. That could be a beautiful thing if that's what you want. But the first question is, what the hell do you want at the end of this road? Because you found me, you probably want to start, grow, or scale your practice. What is your end point? And that's, I think, something that I always like hound on you guys whenever I consult with y'all is, where do you want to go with this? And the answer is right as long as you figure out your answer. You don't copy my answer or copy someone else's answer. Well, Tom across there has 7 clinics. I want 7 clinic locations. May be a disaster for Tom. You don't know. Whatever you want is what you want. That's the right answer. The next step is identifying what are the problems and how can you get to that goal in a bite-sized method. So for me, it went from working basically 60-hour weeks and then doing admin at 4 a.m. to then figuring out, all right, I need a team. A team means I need to hire someone else. I'm going to take a pay cut. I'm going to save up a ton of money while that doctor comes in and I take the lull and cut. And let's see how it goes on building him. And then while I'm doing that, cool, I'm learning how to market. I'm learning how to do all these other things so that I can copy and paste that and stamp that out to all the locations, every provider. I know this is a bit of a longer video, but we became doctors to help people. But I absolutely hate the saying where it's the patient comes first. No, you come first. If you're not in a healthy environment, just like a pilot, right? You got to put your oxygen mask on first. You come first. You and your family come first. And then the patients come right after that. Helping people doesn't mean you need to lose your life, lose your future, but I think identifying how you want to help people. If you want to show up and do locum shifts in North Dakota for the last 5 years of your career and make great money, cool. That's an amazing plan and execute that very well. If you're younger in your career or even middle in your career and want to grow or scale the hell out of a medical practice, I can help you do it. If you found this helpful, consider liking, subscribing, or sharing with a friend. I really appreciate all the kind words and everyone following along. I know this is a bit of a longer video today, but I just wanted to get out there and say, like, you can do it. But the first is figuring out systems and what is your why? Why do you want to scale? Where do you want to scale? That is what you need to figure out. And every step of the way, then create your bite-sized plans on how to execute on that plan. I'll be around every week. See you guys next time. See y'all later.